What's up, everyone? Welcome to Among the Fence, my YouTube channel where I do music reviews. My name is Aaron. Today we're going to check out the new album Dogma by the band Crown the Empire. Dogma is the 5th studio album released by the Texas metalcore band since they first started in 2010. They dropped their debut EP, Limitless, in 2011, and it's got some bangers that hold up even today. It wasn't until November of 2012 that they released their first actual full-length album, The Fallout, which is, to me, a near perfect album. The songs on it are super catchy. They all hit hard, expanded on the concept that was in Limitless, and it just expanded their overall sound. It feels like they matured a little bit more after they released Limitless and came out with this and had more of an idea of what they really wanted to sound like. Then they released Renaissance and Retrograde in 2014 and 2016. The Renaissance exploring the more softer side while still being pretty heavy and all-around solid album. The Retrograde is just, I don't know, it progresses in the softer side a little bit more. It's not a bad album, it's just not as memorable. There's only like 3 songs on there that I can even really remember what they sound like even after all this time. And unfortunately, this is when things get a little messy for the band. It came out that they used a ghostwriter for a majority of their music, which, I mean, people can hate on them for that, but it's something that a lot of bands do, and that's not really the crime that people are upset. I mean, if it is, then that's kind of their own thing, but something that a lot of bands do. It's not really that big of a deal, but the ghostwriter wanted to continue writing stuff for the band without distorted vocals, and that's when they pushed out their vocalist Dave in 2017, and it was just really unprofessional. It was really heartbreaking. Dave wrote a letter saying that, you know, he was hoping, or I guess a statement saying he was hoping to just be with this band for pretty much the rest of his life. And then because of the ghostwriter having nothing to do with the band, all of a sudden he's no longer part of it. And it was, honestly, I feel like that's their biggest crime that people judge them over for sure. And then they released the vastly different Sudden Sky in 2019, and the album 07/12/2010, I'm assuming is July 10th, 2010, maybe. They released that one in 2020, which is basically just acoustic covers, if we're going to be completely honest. Their newer sound is a lot softer than what they used to be, which is something that a lot of fans, myself included, really struggle with this band, because they weren't like an all-around heavy hardcore band, but they're more stronger, more passionate moments. Not even distorted vocal and screaming wise, but just heavy in emotion is what made this band so freaking good in Limitless and The Fallout. It's what made them stand out so much, especially when a lot of other bands were kind of doing the same thing. And because of that, they got a lot of criticism for their last couple albums as well. But I always have hope. I always hope that, you know, their newer album is going to bring them back to life again and restore the love that me and a lot of other fans once had. So let's check this thing out. The album opens up with the title track song, Dogma, which starts off with a synthy beat and kind of staticky, distorted-ishy kind of vocals. It's really hard to tell which one it is because the production on this thing is just, there's just a lot of it. A lot of production, a lot of producing on it. The vocals do sound good, though, when they clean up and they push through. They sound really great. They're very piercing, very clear. And to me, they kind of bring this song together because the music is just not really doing it all that much. I love the powerful outro, mostly in this song more than anything else. It's just, like I said, lacking musically. And then we have the song Black Sheep, which starts off really aggressive. But again, the production on this thing is so freaking intense. So the music is basically just a wall of sound that gets kind of lost with just the vocals pushing through, giving a melody, giving it more of a musical kind of presence. The lyrics are pretty dull in this song. They're not really lazy. They're just not really saying anything or much at all, I guess you could say. Modified has a cool riff in the intro that gets cut out for just drums and quiet vocals in the verse. I like the overall sound of the chorus. It's just, all the music is very indistinguishable. Like, guitar-wise, it's just a bunch of noise. The only thing you can really hear is the vocals and the drums. Otherwise, I like the lyrics. They're pretty decent. And the vocals, again, sound really good. Then we have Paranoid, which is about being paranoid. It starts off with a pop-style kind of verse that gets this cool-sounding guitar part, it kind of hangs out in the background. It sounds really good. Next time you listen to this, if you haven't heard it before, definitely pay attention to the verses, specifically just all the music that's going on, because that is actually pretty good. The chorus just falls flat for me by sounding like all the other choruses on this album, but the vocal melody throughout it is absolutely fantastic. Then we have In Another Life, which is probably my favorite song on this album. It's got a fire-breathing verse. The pre-chorus is fantastically groovy, one of the best moments on this entire album. The chorus sounds okay. It's definitely the weakest part of this album for all the same reasons as all the other choruses. The post-chorus features Courtney from Spirit Box, and she sounds beautiful as ever with her clean vocals, especially when she comes back in with the distorted vocals in the breakdown, and she joins in with the other I don't know, her vocals, I gotta say, are probably more powerful. She sounds so freaking good throughout the back half of this song, and I would say the best part about this song is it doesn't need her. It doesn't need her to sound good. And this is something that I feel like this whole album is kind of missing, is just the songwriting aspect and just the passion. This is one of the only songs on this album that has passion coming from the actual band. I feel like the band is in it. They're here. They're liking what they're playing and they're really enjoying it. And that's what won me over on this song. Having Courtney in there just makes it that much better for me. And then we have the song Superstar, which to me is kind of like the oddball song on this thing. Instead of having a slow song, they went for a song that has a really smooth hip hop kind of vibe to it. I'm not a fan of the higher vocals in the chorus whatsoever. Verse 2 has Remington from Palais Royale, which I'm not really a huge fan of his vocals specifically in this song. They're just a little too raspy, a little too throaty. I'm not really feeling them all that much. They don't fit the rest of the song. The higher vocals don't fit the rest of the song. I don't know. I didn't click with this one. I listened to it about 5 times and I couldn't get it. It wasn't for me. I do like the lyrics though. The lyrics are about how destructive fame could be. And while they don't go too deep, I mean, they still hit the nail on the head for sure. And then we have the song Dancing with the Dead, which has a powerful intro as it starts out on the chorus. And the single verse is just as strong. This song is mostly just a song for moshing in a live scenario. They do it right, though. It becomes really intense as the song progresses. This is definitely a high point of the album, which it isn't really that good. It isn't that good that this is the high point because it still feels really empty. Then we have Immortalize, which is my absolutely least favorite song on this thing. The lyrics are absolutely pointless and shallow. They don't really say anything at all, and the whole thing sounds just like an edgy Imagine Dragons. And then we have the song Someone Else, which kind of has the same exact kind of problem, but it is musically better. I do enjoy the music a little bit more in this one compared to Immortalize. I love the ups and downs that it has. It's just not really there lyrically or in terms of songwriting. It's just generic. These two songs together, Immortalize and Someone Else, are just so freaking generic. And then we have the closing track, Labyrinth, which finishes things off with a lot of attitude. The verse is very aggressive, and I enjoyed it a lot. It mellows out quite a bit in the pre-chorus, which sounds good. The chorus, I don't really care for all that much due to the melody and the hook. I don't really like the performance on it. Musically, again, it just falls flat. It just kind of comes off as a heavier sounding modern day Architects. The best part about this album for me are the vocals, but a lot of times they're just so drowned out by the effects that are placed on them, especially the clean vocals. Every once in a while, you'll hear them without an effect, and they sound so good. And I'm so happy that the distorted vocals play such a big role in this album, but they face the same kind of thing. They just have just so many effects on them to where it just doesn't sound that great. And the music in this thing has potential as well, but it's just so overproduced. Every time you get to a chorus or like a breakdown or a heavy moment, you just get this smudged wall of sound coming at you. And lyrically, this album is pretty soulless, which makes sense because I guess it fits the music. Sure, this thing's got a lot of heavy moments to it, but it's nothing that we haven't heard from 50 other bands. And because of that, I feel like this album is just going to be forgotten amongst the sea of all the other bands that are doing the exact same thing. So with all that said, I got to give Dogma by Crown the Empire a 4.7 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. Honestly, I wanted to give this album a lower rating, but I didn't completely dislike everything about it. For instance, the song In Another Life is probably this album's saving grace. That is actually a really good song. It's probably one of the best songs that modern Crown the Empire could have written. But yeah, leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of Dogma. Let me know what you'd rate it. Let me know what your favorite song is. If you want to help support me and my channel, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell icon and giving this review a like. That way, it helps with the YouTube algorithm. You don't miss out on any of my future content because you've interacted with my video. If you care to see more, yeah, I just want to thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to watch me talk about music and listen to what I have to say. And I appreciate you guys more than you could ever imagine. And I hope you have a good rest of your day or night whenever you're having watching this. And I will talk to you guys next time.
I was